Deviated nasal septum. Septum means the partition between the nasal cavity. Deviated nasal septum means the septum, that is a partition, instead of being central, it is inclined or deviated to one side as shown in this picture. The first picture shows the septum is straight. The second picture, it is deviated. Deviated nasal septum is very common. In the general population, 60 to 80% will have deviation and they will not have any complaint in spite of having the deviation. Only 20% of the patients will have complaints. So what is the cause? What is the etiology for deviated nasal septum? So the first one is trauma. Second one being developmental. It can be hereditary and it can be common in a particular race. So what are the common complaints of the patient? The most common complaint will be nasal block, and that too, the complaint will be, they say that in the morning when they walk a lot, after some duration, after some time, they are not able to breathe properly through the nose and they'll be forced to breathe through the mouth. Likewise, they have difficulty during sleep also. And most importantly, especially during upper respiratory tract infection, the nose block will be at its worst. That is the most common complaint. And when the septum deviation is very severe, they can have external deformity too. And few percentage of the patients, they may complain of headache. You should know that septal deviation per se will not produce headache. These patients can have coexisting infection of the sinuses or other causes which can lead to headache. And very less percentage of the patients, they may present with bleeding from the nose. So on examination, the external nose itself, if there is a deformity, I can tell you for sure that this patient is going to have or will be having deviation of the nasal septum also, as you find in this picture. Now, once that is done, I would like to do a nasal endoscopy. Why? Because I would like to know that whether he has got any other cause for nasal obstruction other than the nasal deviation. That I have to make sure before going into the next action. So let us group the patients into two categories. One is symptomatic patients, another one is asymptomatic patients. So asymptomatic group forms about 60 to 80%, though they have their nose being deviated to one side. Only 20% of the patients are symptomatic. Only this 20% of the patients who are symptomatic will be subjected to investigation and if necessary for the operation also. I would like to do a CT scan for two reasons. One is I would like to know the severity of the deviation and whether it's anterior posterior, and the second being whether the patient has got infection of the sinuses also. So if he has got infection of the sinus as well as he has got complaints, I could go ahead and do a correction of the septum, make it straight, and the sinus infection also can be cleared at the same surgery. That's why. Now, the name of the surgery is septoplasty. Means septum we are correcting and the deviation we are removing and we are going to make it straight. So let's suppose we have decided on operation and your operation is on Tuesday morning. So Monday you are getting admitted, and Monday morning as soon as you come to the admission room for operation, we will get a concern for you in a hospital medical legal sheet, in which it will be written what surgery we are going to perform on you and what are the complications of the surgery. You go through that and you have to sign and write your name and put your date, followed by the doctor who is explaining to you, he also will countersign in the same page. Once that is done, we will subject you to few investigations and of course X-ray and ECG also, and these reports will be ready within an hour or 2 hours maximum. With these reports, you have to meet a physician. The physician will give you a clearance for surgery, and with that clearance, you have to meet the anesthetist and he'll give you fitness for anesthesia too. So Monday morning admission, by evening all your investigations and clearance, everything is done. So your admission is going to be for 2 days or 3 days. Means Monday admission, Tuesday operation, Wednesday afternoon you're getting discharged, or at the most Thursday morning you're getting discharged. So Monday night 8 p.m. you have your dinner, possibly from the hospital or from home, and try to avoid food from outside. After 12 o'clock, midnight, please do not drink or eat anything till your staff nurse or the doctor tells you. At this point, I would like to tell you that next day operation, soon after the operation, there will be sponge and plastic and the nasal cavity. So the anesthetist soon after the operation will advise you to breathe through the mouth. Do not forget, when he tells you please breathe, please open your mouth and breathe, because the nose is completely blocked. The sponge will be removed after the next day and the Silastic only after 1 week, which I will explain to you subsequently now. Now the day of surgery, Tuesday morning. So you change your Nilper orally, you are changing your dress to your OT dress, and approximately the operation time is going to be 1 to 1.5 hours approximately. So, but totally it takes about 2.5 hours, because you need time for the anesthetist as well as for the staff nurse for arranging everything. So suppose you leave your room to the theatre, operation theatre, by 9 o'clock, you can be back in the room by 11:30. So as soon as you come back to the room, you are not supposed to drink or eat for next 4 hours, or till the staff nurse or the doctor tells you. And your position will be propped up like this, and you may have few complaints. The complaints are, you may have headache, facial pain, nasal block, and slight bleeding from the nose or slight bleeding from the mouth. And the last one, you have watering from the eyes. All these because your nose is completely blocked, and it will stop once the nasal pack is removed, which is done the next day. In case you have unbearable pain, headache, you can complain to the staff nurse, and she will contact the doctor, and she may give you one injection to make you a little more comfortable. So after 4 hours or till these 4 hours, IV drip will be going on, and likewise the staff nurse will walk in and check your temperature, pulse rate and BP. So after 4 hours, first we will advise you to drink water. And if you are okay for next 10 or 15 minutes, what I mean to say is that you don't vomit, you are okay, then we'll ask you to take liquid diet on that particular day, Tuesday. So as and when you are having your food or liquid diet, the staff nurse may walk in and they may give you antibiotic and painkiller also. Some hospitals may give this antibiotic and painkiller through the IV itself. Some hospitals, they prefer oral antibiotic and painkiller. Both are okay, whichever is a hospital protocol. So Tuesday day is done. Next day morning, that is Wednesday morning, we need to remove your nasal pack. So suppose the doctor comes for rounds by 9 o'clock. The staff nurse will come in to you, and she'll give you a nasal drop by around 7 o'clock. And 7 o'clock morning, and she'll tell you to apply 2 drops on each nasal cavity every 15 minutes, so that we can make this sponge soft, so that the removal will be easy and it will be painless. So the doctor walks in by 9 o'clock, he removes the sponge on both sides. At this time, some patients may have bleeding, which can be minimal or it will be little troublesome, but nothing to be worried of. In 99% of the patients, it stops within 15 minutes to half an hour. So if there is bleeding, the staff nurse, they are with you, and they may apply nasal drops, and likewise they may apply some ice pack over the nose or over the forehead. With this, they can control the nasal bleeding. So Wednesday, once the pack is removed, you are ready to discharge if you are comfortable. You can go home on Wednesday afternoon. So you should not forget at this stage that nasal pack has been removed, but Silastic sheath is still inside, which will be removed only after 1 week. So during discharge, you have few advices. That is, one is take antibiotic, painkillers regularly. Likewise, you have to use nasal drops, 3 drops 3 times daily for 5 days, and nasal wash 3 times daily. So this nasal wash, how it has to be used and what is the technique of using it, the staff nurse will explain to you, or I have a separate video on this, how to use a nasal wash and nasal spray. Please watch that. So your discharge advice is done. So you will be asked to come back after 1 week for removal of this silastic sheath. Once this silastic sheath is removed, we'll do a nice suction cleaning of the nose and we'll make you more comfortable. At this point, that is 1 week after the surgery, your nose will be opened about approximately 50%. So if you ask me, when is the nose going to completely open up? My answer is going to be 6 weeks. Approximately 6 weeks, provided you follow the instructions of the doctors properly. So what are the instructions after the removal of the silastic? You need to use a wash daily, 3 times daily, and you need to start nasal spray also. This nasal spray, this is a steroid nasal spray. I'll tell you how to use this. This is a spray. Now, when you want to apply on the left side, left nasal cavity, please hold it in the right hand and shake it properly. Keep the nozzle on the left side, and the direction of the nozzle will be the direction of the outer canthus of the eye. This is the outer canthus, this is the inner canthus. So direct the nozzle of the nasal spray towards the outer canthus of the eye. So right hand, left nasal cavity towards the outer canthus. Right nasal cavity, left hand towards the outer canthus. So you press 2 times. Like this. So likewise, you have to use 2 times daily and the wash 3 times daily. Wash first, spray next. This will go on till your doctor who has operated on you, till he tells you to stop. So this will go on till then. Your next visit will be after 2 weeks. Then subsequent visit will be going to be after 6 weeks. That is 6 weeks post-operatively. So that is about the post-operative care. Now, let me brief you about the complications of surgery. The complications can be immediate, that means during the surgery, or can be when you are coming back to the ward, say within 24 hours. Or it can be late, say within a week or so, or within months together. So the immediate complication will be bleeding. When you come to the ward, you may complain that there is numbness of the upper tooth. Likewise, you may complain that the nose, there's a woody feeling. That also it's very common. But all this will go off after a few days. The late complications, you may have bleeding at home. In case of bleeding at home, it's very simple. What you need to do, you have to sit up. It may stop by itself, followed by application of drops, nasal drops. These nasal drops, you need to apply 2-3 times. And likewise, if you can apply ice packs over the nose and over the forehead, that also may help you. With this, most of your bleeding stops by itself. In case the bleeding continues, you are requested to go to the doctor who has operated on you, and he may examine you and he may do the needful. The next complication will be infection. And the late complications are, one, you can have a perforation in the septum. That is, the septum which you have made straight, there may be a hole in that. And if the hole happens to be very big, it can damage the external framework of the nose, and it can change the framework of the nose too. These are the complications of surgery. So we have seen deviated nasal septum, what are the causes, the presentation, the examination finding, investigation, the pre-operative and the post-operative care. Thank you so much.